Hi everyone, welcome back to Wrath&Ruin. A little bit of different video today. This is a video that I recorded a long time ago but never really got to upload. So the format is a bit different and might be a bit of shaky camera because I recorded it all handheld. Yeah, in this in this video we're going to be making a 4x4 grassland Rohan inspired gaming table for Middle-earth strategy battle games with a resin river down the middle of it. So stick around and I'll catch you after this.
Ruin video. Today we are starting to make a grassland board with a river running through it. We are using XPS foam as the base. Unfortunately I couldn't get any thick enough that I wanted, so excuse the light, it's quite bright outside. So I've got some 10mm boards instead, and then I'm just gluing them together and pegging them together with toothpicks to get the thickness I want. It's going to be 30mm thick. This one doesn't have the top one on, because on the top one this is where the river's going to go. If you can see, not really because of the sun, the river is drawn there, so it's going to be 4 foot long, the river. It is 4.5 inches wide at the widest point, nice and wavy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the river out on the hot wire cutter and then glue this piece to the top and then slope the banks and add the details into the river with some sculptor mould and some woodland scenics rock casts which I've made up. So what I'll do is I will bring you back after this river is cut out and placed back on the board. Okay, so now we've moved inside. We've got the 3 boards are now stuck together, so we're now 30mm thick. We cut one of the top board into sections, so we took a chunk out of the middle to act as the river all the way down the board, like so. It's a Fairden down there for scale for the Ford. And we've just sloped off. We've taken the hard edges off here of the edge of the river, and we've just sloped 2 sections at the top and the bottom there and there. So what we're going to do, this is like the entrance to the ford. This is going to be 2 ford crossings and then a bridge. So the bridge can either be ruined, so it's not in use, or actually a whole bridge, so it can be used as a crossing as well. For balance in the game, I don't want just to have like 1 crossing area or 2 crossing areas, just so like if you've got like Army of the Dead, say, just castling here on one side of the ford, you know, all with shields. So you've got your swords and you up the front, all with swords and shields, and then you've got your spear support behind as well. You facing defense 8, it's going to be really hard to get through. So with multiple points, it's going to be easier to trot across. So I've been making a load of moulds which have disappeared from the woodland scenics rock moulds out of plaster. I've got a tub full of them here, so I'm just going to select a couple just to place in the river with a bit of hot glue now as the main pieces. The larger ones are going towards the centre because this is where the bridge is going to be, and I'm going to painstakingly draw cobblestones through the entire board on both pieces of this, because there is another piece as well. So these rock moulds are going to be in the middle of the river mainly, just to show a bit of depth, you know, larger rocks for depth, and then it's going to be covered with some slightly smaller, and then smaller down to blend it all in for the riverbed. And this will be just like normal pebbles for like a ford, a shallow area. So after we've got the river down, the river the rock molds in the river down, it will be time to paint the board. The entire board is going to be painted with a mix of brown acrylic paint, PVA glue, and some sand as a texture. But I'll bring, once all of this is down and we've started painting the board, I'll bring you back to show you that. So just for the meantime, just got hot glue gun. Just gonna squeeze out a bit of hot glue on the back of the plaster mold. My filming is terrible, just like so. Put that back on my leg because, you know, super safe. And then we're just going to place this in the river like so. And these wooden scenic rock molds are actually quite nice for this because they've got some jagged areas and some smooth areas as well. So, you know, like the water should come across it quite nicely. So I'm going to stick some more of these down and then come back to you when it's time to paint the board. Right, now that we have the river cut out, larger stones and rocks, and then the main covering of the bottom of the river, which is bird sand. It's got some like broken up shells and stuff like that in it, and the path has been carved in. It's now time to paint all of it. I'm going to leave the path and the river for the moment. I'm going to paint all of this main area and the bank here on this board and on the other board, the entire board, again apart from the path. I'm going to paint it in a brown texture paint just to make sure sand, glue and paint. Red, and that'll be ready for the flocking then. And then I'm just going to paint the river brown. It won't be texture paint, obviously, because of the texture already there. And once that's done, it will be time to paint the rocks. They'll be painted like a grey, and the path, which will be a stone colour. I'll paint it black and then dry brush it up to grey cobblestones with some, and then wash it down, but that'll be the later part of the video. I'm going to get this painted and then we'll bring you back. Okay, we've now painted it all with a sand mix. It's just a load of sand in a tub with some PVA glue, some water and some brown paint. And we've got the base covered over this entire board. The rocks have been painted and then washed and then dry brushed up. And I've just put some different colour washes, some green and some blue, all the way down the centre of the river. to just to show a deeper section of the river. So once it's poured, then hopefully this bit in the middle will look a bit deeper than the stuff on the outside. That's the aim anyway. I've not done a resin pour like this before, so we'll find out. I've added some, this is train ballast for model railways, which I've then washed over with Agrax Earthshade. As you see on like Fords and stuff, as you're walking through, small stones get brought out. I know it looks a bit funky now, but it's all going to be blended in once I start adding the static grass to it. It'll come over little bits of it, so it just kind of like fades away into the grassland. That's the idea with this, and that's just some fine ballast, like I said, with Agrax over the top of it, and it's done on both sections of the ford. And the river has been painted black, then dry brushed up, and then it was washed again, and then a dry brush over the top because it darkened it down too much. But then I've just gone over with some Agrax Earthshade and just dotted it in, so it's like it's old and worn. It's where like what they're called, carts have been dragged through by horses, and just over the bridges and stuff like that. So it's just a little bit dirtier. The next job is to cover the board with static grass. First 2mm static grass, and then it's going to have patches of 4mm over it, and I've got tufts as well to come in with some flowers and things like that, and that will be put on the boards to make it over. The next stage of what I have to do now is I have to do exactly what this is, other than the river, on the other 2 foot by 4 foot section. And then once that's done, the fun does begin, and we start dressing the board up with static grass. Anywhere that's not going to be grass, it's going to be like empty areas. I'll texture it up with some dirt, just so that there may be some small dirt paths or something like that. Or I might put longer grass, so there's a grass base, because as you walk over grass normally, it's flatter than the grass is on the side. So that's probably what will happen. The other board is going to be plain. It is literally just going to be flat like this, but that's because this is the main feature of the board, and the other one's going to it's more for the scatter terrain to go on, the hills, any farm sections, fields and stuff like that may be put in there. Fortification, the Rohan fortress or something like that, and a small built-up village area, woods. It's for scatter terrain. It's just a flat board with one feature. Well, I suppose two: the river and the path. So it's easily transferable. So once everything's done and we're on the static grass section, we'll come back. We'll put down some static grass, and then the part I'm dreading the most, which is the resin pour for the river. So I'll catch you shortly. Okay, both boards have now had the static grass applied to them. It's a complete cover of 2mm grass from World War Scenics. I've done a 50-50 blend of the autumn and the spring 2mm grass over both boards, apart from the middle and obviously the river. And then I've done patches of the World War Scenics summer 4mm grass to give it kind of the darker patches. Now the fun bit has begun, and it's tufts and flowers time. I'm using the stuff from Gamer's Grass. Got some yellow flowers, some white flowers, some light brown tufts at 6mm long, some red flowers, some mixed green flowers, these are the Autumn XL 12mm tufts. I'm just sticking them down now. That's more like bushes, like scatter bushes over the board like that. And on the other section of the board, there was, oh yeah, also on the road, I've got the tiny beige 2mm long. They're also in the river as well, to act as like more of like a moss and lichen and stuff like that. And then on the river, I've got the longer spiky grass. I've used them all, but I can't find the packet to show you. Oh, there it is. It's called just spiky green. It's 12mm as well. Yeah, 12mm. These are amazing. I can't say enough about them, but on a different video I'm going to do a review of these. Obviously, having used them on a 4x4 board, I would have got to grips with them very well. So yeah, we're on that. Next video that you see will be the resin pour for the river, and that's the bit I'm dreading. So I'm going to get all of this down, all the flowers down, then the resin pour, and then we should be done. So stick around and we'll be back shortly. Okay, now the tufts are on. There might be a couple more which I put over here, but I might not, because I do want some areas for buildings to go down and scatter terrain, so I don't want it too clogged up. But as you can see, we've got the flowers here, and these are the longer reeds, the spiky reeds that they call them. We've dammed off the edges now. It's a tongue depressor covered in is it frog tape, and then hot glued in, so we've got a barrier on the inside, and then hot glued on the outside, and then more tape put on both sides. So we're ready for the resin pour. I'm using this 1:1 ratio crystal clear self-leveling resin. 40-minute work time, that's why I've chosen it. Sets completely within 24 to 48 hours, and it's a 1:1 mix ratio. So I'm going to mix up the resin. I'm going to add some colours. I'm not sure which colours yet, just to give it a blue tinge or a slightly green tinge, because it's a field, it's a meadow, there could be animals around here, so you know, off runs from farms and things like that. So I'll bring you back for the pour itself. And here we go. I'm hoping I've got enough. If not, I'll have to get some more, and there will be a part 2 to this pour. This is the bit I'm concerned about. Well, it's up against it.
Yeah, this is him building like still soil.
Yeah, I definitely need some more. Yeah, needs another set of resin, but it's there. I'll level it out. I'll level it out with my stick, and then get another layer on top of it, and bring you back for that one. So now that the resin river is poured and dried and set and good to go, we could leave it there, but now I'm just going to do one last step using some Mod Podge gloss. brush and an airbrush, and what we do is we put the Mod Podge down nice and thick on the river, and we use the airbrush to make ripples in the direction of the river to flow. That will then dry clear and give us a moving river, because as you can see now it's just very still, very shiny. So get this done, dry, bring it back for the last little overview of the board, completely done. So see you in a little bit. So now we have the completed board, apart from the edges. I was going to put some PVC angle around it to protect it, so if it's just on a normal table, if it's on the gaming table that I built, which in the previous video, doesn't matter too much because it doesn't lip over too much. But if I put the angle on it, because it can be multiple ways, then it's not going to match up properly. So I'm just going to get some decent thick black tape to go around the outsides of it. It is semi-modular. You can have the river in the middle of the board, or we can flip it around so that it's still on the table as a feature, but it's just at the back. Push it all together to match it up, like so. So it's just at the back, so it's still there, but like if you're playing this way, it's there. It's non-intrusive. It just looks pretty. All the tufts on the board are absolutely amazing. I'm going to do a video review of them. They are fantastic, really good value for what they are. So now you've seen the board like this, I'm going to put some terrain pieces on it, get some models on it so you can get the scale of it, and then we'll come back once that's there and end the video after that. So we have it with the terrain on the board. Please forgive the unpainted house. There we go, some terrain and some miniatures. There's a 4x4 board with a river. One of my next videos will be building a bridge to span that. Just use it as a ford at the moment. Ford here. Across the river. And the bad guys. The orcs. So there it is. 4x4 grass gaming board. The most expensive part was the resin for the river. Tally in that price as well, we're looking at about £100, £80 to build that board. So you've got a 4x4 gaming table for under £100. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Stay safe, and I'll see you again soon.